Absolutely. Courageous. Absolutely courageous. I gotta be honest with you guys. I was looking forward all weekend to this video because I wanted to tell you that I got woke this weekend. I really got woke. And so one more video for the channel, and then I'm probably going to delete it because it's just done so much harm in this conversation. And really, or maybe what I'll do is I'll change it. So that way I'll be able to fight rampant white supremacy and all of this kind of stuff, Christian supremacy, the whole thing. I'll be able to fight it through my platform. And so, you know, hopefully I'll be able to undo all of the evil that I've done over the last year or so. That video of Matt Chandler just doing heroic racial reconciliation, I gotta be honest, that's what woke me. Nah, just kidding. That was great, though. That was courageous. That was awesome. But really, what it was that got me woke is this tweet from Jim Carrey. This amazing artwork that he did here. I guess that's Orange Man there, and he's very bad, and he's eating this. I guess is this one of the bombs? I think. Yeah, he's eating the bomb. I think. Yeah. And so anyway, he says, today they tried to murder 2 presidents. They did do that, as well as public servants and journalists. Make no mistake, these terrorists were encouraged and emboldened by the hate speech of Donald Trump. He's so right about that, too. Donald Trump was the cause of all of that. If you can't see the clear menace of this man's influence by now, then you are part of it. And, you know, honestly, that made me really introspect. And I looked at myself, and I, you know, realized that I was part of all of that. I was part and parcel of it because I didn't know that the Orange Man was really as bad as he is, and so therefore I have gotten woke. And so I, you know, with my new wokeness, I went on Twitter and I was just looking at and trying to find some of the leaders. And unfortunately, I'm blocked by a lot of the Christian woke leaders. The best ones anyway have blocked me. But I found Thabiti. He hasn't blocked me yet. And I just saw this absolutely heroic tweet from Thabiti. This is courageous. This takes a lot of guts for him to say this, because honestly, this is what we're all thinking. This is what we're all thinking, and I'm just very grateful for Pastor Anyabwile to say this, because this needs to be said. This is speaking truth to power. This is speaking truth to power. I think we could all learn something from the good pastor here. Let's check it out. He says this: the common thread between the pipe bombs mailed to 13 to 14 persons, the Louisville shooter who attempted to enter a black church before killing 2 at Kroger, and the murder of a Jewish person and shooting of police officers in Pittsburgh is white supremacy. That's right, because this. But before I read that Jim Carrey tweet, I was a white supremacist. I'm repenting of it now, and I'm going to tell you all about it in my Twitter feed too. He goes on, he says, another commonality, and I checked to several timelines to be sure. So he checked several timelines. He checked several of them, and now he's positive he can make this declaration. And I completely agree with him. I think he's 100% right. He checked several timelines to be sure. None of the major folks on Twitter, so strident in their opposition of social justice, had anything to say about any of those events or the white supremacy that undergirds them. Complete silence is not justice. I would go a step further. Complete silence is injustice. If you're silent about this, you are unjust. You're evil. You're part of the problem. Like Jim Carrey said, you are part of it. You're a part of white supremacy. And the last, this is tweet 3 out of 3. Even though I'll give him a, you know, look, he's woke. He's got a lot of things on his mind. Tweet 1 out of 2, 2 out of 2, and then 3 out of 3. He says, "There's not even a lament or praying for the families." End quote. And, you know, be honest, he's so right. Like, you look at all of these wicked, wicked ministers that are against cultural Marxism and social justice, the Marxist hunters out there. They don't care about people. They don't care about Jews. They don't care about black people. They don't care about the pipe bombs and the ex-presidents and all of that. They haven't said a word about it. They haven't said anything about it. And we can be sure. I mean, I also checked several timelines to be sure with Thabiti. I checked several timelines, and the conclusion that I've read after all the several timelines that I checked, the conclusion that I reached is that they just don't care. They just don't care. And I had to go back and I had to edit this in here because, to be honest, Thabiti's making so much sense. I mean, how if you don't go on Twitter and let everyone see your lament and let everyone see your prayers and things like that, how is everyone going to know how good you are? How is everyone going to know that you're righteous and that you're virtuous and all of this stuff? How are they going to know? And honestly, it's really sad. It's really sad that there are so many white supremacist pastors out there that support these kinds of things. I mean, let's just call it what it is. Speak truth to power. Time to do some truth telling. if you didn't say anything about these shootings or these bombings or anything like that, then you're part of the problem. You're actually have blood on your hands. You have blood on your hands. And so honestly, I'm with Thabiti on this one. You know, now that I'm woke, though, I'm going to try to practice a little bit of this. And honestly, look, I might make a few mistakes. I'm sorry if I do. I'm still trying to learn what's really the important issues and what aren't the important issues. And so I'm going to, you know, I'm just going to go online and look for some issues. And, you know, I'm going to check some timelines, too. Yeah, I'm going to check Thabiti's timeline. Because, to be honest, there were 2 arson fires in my town this weekend, actually on Saturday, 2 arson fires, and I'm not convinced that white supremacy wasn't involved with those as well. 2 people actually died in one of the fires in my town, and you know, honestly, in Vermont, there's very few murders, and this was one of them. And so, you know, let's check Thabiti's timeline and see if he mentioned it. Yeah, because this will be a teachable moment for all of those evil Marxist hunters, those evil ministers out there that didn't say anything about this. This will be a teachable. We'll check Thabiti's timeline. I'm sure that he's talked about this because he knows silence is injustice. Because, yeah, there was, I mean, I think Thabiti cares about, it was probably drug related because they were squatting in this house, but so this is, let's see, it was Saturday, so let's look. There doesn't seem to be any mention of the fires in Rutland. Well, you know, honestly, again, like I said, I'm working on it. I'm not really that, I don't know what the important issues are. So, you know, maybe it doesn't count if it's like a local issue and it's just in Rutland, Vermont. I mean, Rutland, Vermont is really not, it's not really that big of a deal. I can give him a pass on that. I'll give him a pass on that. What about, you know, I was online earlier and I saw how Christians were being killed in Nigeria. There was another arson fire and I think like 10 Christians were killed in Nigeria. Let's see, that was pretty recently too. I'm looking here, you know, I don't think he's mentioned it recently. I mean, maybe he's mentioned it before, but to be honest, if you're really gonna, you gotta mention, but you know, it's Christians though that got killed. So I guess, yeah, that's actually not really a woke issue either, because let's just be honest, Christian supremacy, it's not really the same when Christians get killed. It has to be other people. Okay, well, what about, you know, here's an issue that I think is definitely important to the woke. Did you hear that far right, and when I say far right, I mean anti-communist, you know, someone who's not a socialist, won the election, the presidential election in Brazil? Did you hear that? Now that's an issue we can get up in arms about. That needs to stop. That's unchristian, unchristlike. That a right-wing, far-right, let's just call it as far-right-wing leader, authoritarian, literally Hitler, won in Brazil. And I gotta be honest, Thabiti, you haven't said anything about it yet. Thabiti, silence is not justice. How could you be silent in the face of an authoritarian rising in Brazil? That's a native place, man. How could you, Thabiti? I gotta be honest, I'm disillusioned. I'm disillusioned. This is unacceptable. Again, we have these fake people that are in the woke movement. They're not really woke. You're not woke. You haven't even mentioned Brazil here. Is that the most? That's actually, you know, that's pretty important. Let's just be on far right wing people winning elections. That cannot stand. That's an injustice. Let justice roll down like waters. That's not the most important thing I heard today. You know, did you hear this? That there's a social media website that lets anyone just post whatever they want. I mean, even neo-Nazis and white supremacists. Gab, has he mentioned Gab? Is he against Gab? I see a bunch of this stuff about the Jewish people here. That's good. I mean, I'm glad about. He hasn't even mentioned Gab. I gotta be honest, Thabiti. You have to understand that silence is an injustice. If you're silent about anything that I care about, that's part of injustice, and I have to be honest. So you haven't mentioned Gab, so therefore you must be okay with white supremacists having a social media platform. You must be okay with far right-wing dictators winning in Brazil. You must be okay with that. I don't even know what to do anymore. I mean, mark them down, because you cannot be okay with white supremacy and be a Christian. It's just that simple.